All right, this is Wes at Avatar Off-Road. Today we're going to install some side steps, our Rockbody side steps, on the Nissan NV. We're actually going to detail the passenger side. The driver's side is going to be identical, except you don't have to drill the two holes for the plus nuts on the driver's side. Those are only required on the passenger side. So for this, we're going to be using two different T-bolts. We've got a shorter T-bolt and a little longer T-bolt, and we'll show you where these two go when we get underneath the van. We also have plus nuts. We're going to use two plus nuts on this particular install. We've supplied the correct drill bit for the plus nuts. We're going to be using our 3/8 drive impact to install the plus nuts. We've included this little plus nut. We call it a tool. It's actually just a holder for installing the plus nuts. We'll go over that here in a second. And then we've got our drill for drilling the holes for the plus nuts. After we install all the T-bolts, we've got nuts for each one of those included. So that should be your total kit for this particular job. So underneath the van, there's going to be 12 of these plugs that we're going to pull out. But as you can see here, there's only 6 holes in the side step, and approximately 16 inches apart. So the easiest thing to do is to measure their 16 inches and then come up underneath the van and kind of see where the 16 inches is so you can pull out the correct plug. So you don't need to pull out the other 6. The first one is just a couple inches back from the very front of the van. It's going to be super obvious. And then you'll want to measure back 16 inches to get the rest of the other 5. Moving these drain hole plugs. So you can just grab a piece of plier and pull that out. We'll start by using the shorter of the two T-bolts. If you actually put it in this direction, makes a big difference, and get it into position. It can be really in any position after you get it up in there. And then you'll take this thin little nut that we supplied and screw that on to hold it in place. Which will all make sense when we get going a little further. So you can kind of center that on the hole and then tighten that little thin nut. And that'll hold it in place while we get ready to install the side step up into place. Once under the van, we've got our underneath bolts done, which is the shorter one. We're going to take the longer one, and we're going to have to remove this piece of tar paper. This is super fun stuff that you can drop on the floor and then step them with your shoe. And then we'll take this, slide that up in there, and again take our magic little thin nut, spin it on tight, and that'll hold it in place while we move the side step up into place. All right, there's going to be 3 of these along this edge, going into the side of the van, if you will, and there's 6 on the bottom. Now we're going to take the side step, put it on our floor jack, and jack this up into place. We've got 2 more holes that we need to locate so we can drill those and put our plus nuts in. And we will put this up into place first, check those holes, drill those pilot holes. We'll drop this back out of place, put our plus nuts in, and then do our final assembly. I'm just going to put 3 of these 5/16 nuts into my T-bolts to hold this thing up into place so I can get this thing leveled out. those up tight to make sure we're all the way up against the bottom of the body. As you can see now, we're still a little bit out of level because our bolts here are not reaching the step. So we'll reposition our sides, our jack. I'm going to reposition it again just to get a little more leverage towards the outside of the step. And that'll level the step out for us. At this point, we're trying to get the step as level as we can. We do want it with just a slight amount of up so that when you're stepping on it, you don't slide off of it. So we've got it just about where we like it, right here with just a little bit of up to it. All right, so now we've got the side step in the position that we want as far as level-wise. We'll go back underneath, and we've got 2 more holes that we're going to pilot drill so we can get our plus nuts inserted into it. We're going to take a 5/16 drill bit next and do our pilot holes. If you don't have a 5/16 drill bit, which we didn't supply that, you can actually just mark these 2 holes and then drop this out of the way and then drill the holes with the drill that was provided. I find this is a little bit easier for me, but you can do it either way. So now I'm going to remove the nuts that we put on here, drop this back down out of the way, and do my final drill bit hole for my plus nuts. Now we're ready to install our plus nut. We'll take our plus nut tool, run the bolt into it, insert our plus nut onto it. This basically is just holding so the plus nut doesn't spin while we're tightening this up. I would recommend using a rag. I'm just using a piece of foam, or have a nice thick glove on. So we'll take our impact with a 1/2-inch socket and run this in. And then we'll do the same. Now we can raise the step back up into place for a final assembly.